rolling here. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for another edition of our Real Estate Backstory. My name is Alan Richardson. I'm the managing broker at Maximum Realtor and Realtor Partners.
My name is Ming Richardson. I'm the compliance broker for Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
And we're your hosts. We do a weekly video podcast thing where we kind of go over the news, everything happening in the world of real estate around the Atlanta market kind of thing. So we appreciate everyone coming out. We do this every Monday morning at 9 a.m. And so we're going to kind of get started here and just kind of jump in. So first thing is we got quite a few things going on training this week. So tomorrow we have a power hour at our McDonough office with Corey Knight. He is a fantastic trainer. He's going to be going over the 4 W's of team building, and that's tomorrow at 11 a.m. That's in the McDonough office.
That's in person.
Yep.
So
a lot more in-person stuff now.
Yeah, it's one of some classes just hard to host and Zoom. So I highly encourage you, if you have some time tomorrow, come by and also be part of it.
Yep. Also tomorrow we have, starting at 1:30, is Remind Docs Power Tools for Transaction Management. That's a virtual one. On Wednesday, I'm teaching Getting Started with RPR. I'm going to be teaching that live in our Noonan office as well as virtually at the same time. But I really encourage you to come in if you'd like to get more hands-on, real, like I can answer questions much easier, that kind of thing. So please come into the Noonan office on Wednesday.
The RPR is more interactive because you're going to have questions about search or certain valuation, stuff like that. So it's going to help if you're there on site.
It's kind of a very up, high down, looking down onto the, from a mile high view kind of thing.
Right.
But a lot of times people have much more specific questions. So you can hit me up with those afterwards as well. On Thursday, Jake is going to be teaching VA loans, what you need to know as an agent, and that's going to be in our Conyers office as well as virtual.
And I will tell you, on VA loans, he covers what's going on with VA and current administration, thinking about revising some of the appraisal.
Which we're really excited about.
Which would put VA, FHA on the same platform as conventional. So that is going to be very awesome.
Yeah, we're very much looking forward to that. All right, so we kind of want to start off kind of going over and jump right into some very timely information, and that is, so talking about what are the top 3 Google searches wrapped around the mold. Wrapped around real estate. Now, I'm sorry. We do have the mold man. It's going to be, well, the mold woman is going to be joining with us in just a minute. Miranda's going to be on with us in just a minute. So, but right now I'm kind of rolling. So
I kind of did a squirrel on him, so I apologize.
So anyway, we're going to get back to this. So we're going to go to the top 3 Google searches, and I encourage you to go out and look up Buffini Company. Brian Buffini just did the kind of a state of the market thing, and he kind of talked about it. And right now, when it comes to what consumers are interested in real estate, the top 3 searches, the first one is, when is the housing market going to crash? And now the bottom line is it's not going to, but we need to be the ones who are explaining this to our clients, because when that is the number 1 search term about real estate is when the housing market is going to crash, we need to be doing a much better job of communicating and educating to our clients what's really going on. The second most popular question is, why is the market so hot? And it really ties in to the first question a lot, like is it going to crash? Well, why is it so hot? Because they want to understand why the market is the way it is. And, if you've been a constant follower of us, you kind of see where we go over all the numbers, and we'll be talking more about the numbers here today as well. We'll go into more depth, but basically we've been making babies faster. We've been building houses. We have a 6 million house deficit. The most new homes we can build a year is about 1.5 million, and that's 4 years. And then the millennials are all, at about 28, 29 years old. It's the largest segment of the population groups. They're all 28, 29, and the first time home buyer age is 33. And so they're all moving into first time buyer range as well. So, just the basics of supply versus demand out there. We haven't built enough houses to match demand for 10 years now.
Well, if you think about during downturn market, nobody was developing, nobody's building. And so during downturn market because everybody felt like we crashed and we crashed hard. Um, and there was, and if you look at what happened during that time too, a lot of multifamily, basically combined household, and now they're at a point where they want to leave that household and be independent, and this is part of the attrition to the housing market.
Right. Well, and honestly, when you know, the thing is that 2006, 2007, 2008 is still in a lot of our consumers' minds. A lot of our clients remember going through, you know, the housing crash of 2007, between 2007 and 2008, and so for a lot of them, they think, oh, well, this is the same kind of thing. What goes up must come down, kind of thing. But that's not really where we're heading to. And again, we'll go into some more specific numbers here in just a minute. But that's really kind of one of the biggies, is that a lot of our consumers just remember 08. And so we have to understand that as we're explaining things to them.
Well, and also another thing you have to think about is that why is a housing market so hot, and would it stay in that term for a long time? No, it's not going to stay like this with the appreciation rate they has been doing lately. I'll be honest with you, from January to now, that's probably the highest hiking increase. But I'm starting seeing a little bit of slow down, simply because everybody is listing at the top price.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about this. Yeah,
so a lot of agents, a little plateau, I guess.
That's a good way to put it.
Now, a lot of questions are, how much over asking price should I make an offer?
So a lot of the folks, you know, a lot of our consumers know the market that we're in, but no one wants to overpay. I mean, I completely understand that. We all do. I mean, you know, Ming's the bargain shopper here when it comes to that kind of thing. That's very true. So, you know, our consumers want to know. And so this is a great opportunity to really be, you know, cranking up our communication with consumers, with our buyers and our sellers out there, what's really going on. Now also the Buffini organization was very nice, and all they asked was that you just kind of credit them where it came from. You know, if you want to go to buffinico.com kind of thing, you can pick up, they have this whole report where it lists all these great things to share out on social media. State of the market, that this isn't a bubble. They've got mortgage stats, what to expect for buyers, what to expect for sellers, and then about home ownership investment. And these are really cool things to be able to share out there. And you can find all those at Brian Buffini's website, and it's a freebie kind of thing. Now, we really love the Buffini organization as well. We are going to be starting a new training series. He has a training series called 100 Days to Greatness. And this is something that we're going to be rolling out in all of our offices, all the partners' offices, to where we're going to be going over this in each office every week kind of thing, and trying to get this thing rolling out as well over the next 100 days. So look for that to get started in the next 2 weeks. We're going to be cranking that up as well. Now, what about like normal real estate data? Well, first thing we want to jump into, even though it sounds weird, is I want to talk about rents. So rent data, you know, renting is getting more and more expensive, crazy expensive actually at this point. So overall, rent data, you know, rents were up 8% in June. And you got to think about, why is this? You know, why are rents going up? Well, you know, for a lot of our folks who say, you know, we're going to wait. We're not going to buy right now. We're just going to wait because we think that this market is tough. Well, when the house that you're renting is worth more now, or the apartment that you're renting has high demand and is worth more as well, what do the landlords do? Well, they raise rents. And so don't expect that, you know, this is a 1 month jump. We're going to see that as rental contracts are renewed, as rental rates, as new leases are signed, they're going to be signed with much higher escalation clauses on there and with much higher rental rates.
And I will tell you, on the average in Henry County right now, your 3-bedroom, 2-bath is running about minimum 1,600. I've seen it as high as 1,800 or 1,900, depending on the neighborhood it sits in.
The rental prices broke records in 44 cities last month. Of the 10 largest increases in the nation, Atlanta comes in at number 9 we're up 15.6% in rental increases. Now, here's the kicker. Rental increases tend to flow between 3 months to 12 months behind property values. So we've seen property values rising. We're seeing rental rise. We're not going to see rental cool off. We're going to see rental rates continue to rise. And so that kind of leads us into, for those folks who are sitting on the fence, if you've saved up your down payment and you just feel like it's been a crazy market, we need to be communicating to these people, because if they're not engaged in home ownership, real estate is an appreciation game. And it's important that we share this to our clients. If we really care about our clients, we're going to share this to them, because this is a really big deal. Like if you look at the folks that bought, say at the height of the previous market in 2006, 2007, let's say 2006. If you bought in 2006,
it's probably the highest.
Yeah, 2006, 2007, right before the crash happened last time. Guess where they are today? They're in really great shape. The thing is that real estate appreciates on average between 4 and 5% a year, just kind of historically. If you take out all the ups and downs, you just lay it out on a graph kind of thing, it's between 4 and 5%, with really much more years being in the 5% range. Now, we've seen much higher increases over the last year for sure, but generally speaking, it's going to continue. We know that it's going to continue. We still have demand issues. I mean, supply issues. We have a lot of demand. So this is not going down. And so if you wait to get in the market, it's not getting better. So for our renters, this is one of those things where if you want to help someone, help them find a home and get out of renting.
Well, and right now, there are programs like Divvy, Home Partner America, Dream America. They are lease to rent, lease to own, me. And those are good programs for someone that is really trying to work really hard to obtain home ownership. They do have skin in the game, and also it'll help them, move quicker.
Well, we'll talk about them again in just a minute as well. But, see, when you take that rental data and then you match up to where are mortgage rates? Mortgage rates are still at 2.88% right now.
Yeah, you thought it was
ridiculously. So now, that being said, our purchase applications did go up 8% from a week ago. But they're 30% lower than last year. See, last year what happened was our summer didn't start till really late, and then it carried all the way through the fall and winter. And so last year was a big outlier on sales and that kind of stuff. If you really look at it, really 30% lower than last year, but last year was nuts. And so we're starting to follow more historical trends. So it's not really a bad thing. We're just starting to get back into the normal swing of things. I mean, last year, this time we were still on this huge buying frenzy. And so that's actually kind of good.
And just want you to know, 25% of the sales are all cash.
And we're going to talk about that more in just a minute.
15% a year ago.
Yep, exactly.
And that's because all the creative players out right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, the Fed Chair Powell, every time, a couple times a year, he gives a testimony before Congress, and he really said, listen, we're not looking at changing our bond purchases, and that's why interest rates are staying the way they are. Because as long as the Fed continues to buy the 10-year Treasury, we're going to see interest rates at historic lows, kind of thing. When the Fed stops buying 10-year Treasuries at the rate that they are, then we're going to see interest rates start to rise. And so that's a really good thing right there. Now, one thing, when you start talking about buying and that kind of stuff, a lot of our consumers are overestimating how much they need for down payment. Right now, a majority of consumers think that they have to have 20% down to buy a home. The younger buyers, of course, need less. Now, overall, for a lot of folks, like a lot of our boomers and even Gen Xers and our silent generation, they're putting 20% down, but they've got that to put down. If you look at our millennials, a lot of them are at 6 to 10% is what they're putting down. But a lot of times we know that that 6 to 10% is enough to get you in the door. You don't have a whole lot to spare right there, but it is out there, kind of thing. But I guess what I'm trying to point out is that we have a lot of consumers that don't understand that you don't need 20% down. Yes, it's good to have 20% down. Yes, I'm not knocking the benefits of having a 20% down, but the fact is they should know how much down payment money that they really need, what is truly required kind of thing out there. And obviously we're not doing a very good job of communicating that.
Well, a lot of them are, it's like anything else. You learn, I guess what you consider in real world gossips. So rather than listen to the gossip and everybody else's situation, find out the facts from your realtors. And that's where you can, and also your loan officer, that's where you can get the true facts instead of listening to your cousins, your aunt, your friends who had different situations, different scenario. And of course, they're not going to tell you all their financial woes. So therefore, they're going to tell you what they think is the best route for them and maybe for you too as well, or the buyers.
Yep. All right. Now, some folks will be like, yeah, but the foreclosures are going to be coming back in. Not really looking to be that way. If you look at we have the fewest number of homeowners in forbearance since the pandemic began. So some new numbers just came out right now. Only about 3.5% of all mortgages are in forbearance, but the majority of those, like 80% of those, guess what they have?
Equity.
Means that they're taking advantage of the forbearance programs, and I'm not necessarily knocking that. The only caveat we'll say is that we've had deals die because owners went into forbearance and then didn't understand that forbearance amount gets added to the end of their loan. Like we just had one this last week.
They thought they were getting $20,000 back, come to find out that they have a forbearance that was worth $30,000, so they didn't have $10,000 to bring it to the closing table.
Yeah.
So that deal died.
Yeah. And that's not normal, but what we're saying is please do understand that the vast majority of the folks in forbearance have equity to sell kind of thing if they needed to, but a lot of folks are just taking advantage of the forbearance programs kind of thing. Like right now, if you were to take, let's just say 30% of all the homes went into forbearance, that are in forbearance, got foreclosed on. That adds 8 days to our national inventory. 8 days. We're currently at 14 days on market. So that'll put us up to 22 days on market. And just so you know, we need 6 months of standing inventory to have a level playing field where the number of buyers and sellers match. So it's not the same. If you look back where we were in 2008, a very, very big, big difference there.
Even though I did see a couple Fannie Mae product foreclosure home come online, just remember your client is not the only one looking at that foreclosure. And I can guarantee you, on the average, they're going to have about 30 to 35 offers on that foreclosure property.
Yeah. So we talked about this earlier, and we kind of want to touch on it again. Cash buyers are winning a lot of offers right now. There's a new Redfin study that said in 2020, roughly 25% of all home buyers paid cash for their properties. Now, a lot of folks are like, but 25% of people really have cash? Is there that many buyers that really have cash? How are they doing it, man?
They're going through programs such as Divvy, Home Partners America, Ribbon, and please understand, if you're going to redirect your client to these programs, make sure your client understand what the consequences are, because it does, just like anything else, these parties act as basically a very short-term hard money lender. They're investors, okay?
It's like bridge financing.
Yes. Yeah. And, anytime you're borrowing money from any sources, it's going to cost them. And, with different programs, just make sure you are knowledgeable in those programs and that your buyer is aware. And sometimes, the buyer may say, okay, a 2.5%, for example, with Ribbon, is worth me overbidding $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. So for them, they might think this is a better program than it is me not getting to bed and going over $10,000, $15,000, $20,000.
Yeah, they might spend $4,000 or $5,000 on going with an all cash offer, but then not go with $10,000 over list price.
Correct.
Kind of thing. So they're out there. There are options.
There are strategies out there, and it just depends. And one thing I find the most useful is to speak with a listing agent if you can get them on the phone. I understand that a very hot property, an agent is getting, just remember, flip yourself on their side, okay? if I got 30 agents call me every day when I put this listing on the market, guess what? I don't have time to pick up the phone. I really don't, not to be mean. And so all of you guys need to read the private remark and their MLSs to ensure that you're in compliance with their timeline and guideline. And please do not go look at a house if you don't have an appointment, because you're trespassing.
That's a hot button for this one here. All right, retail sales are up. So June's numbers look really, really good. 6% up month over month, or 0.6, 18% year over year. So that's a really, really great place for retail sales.
We're spending.
But the negative side of that is we're seeing consumer pricing kind of go through the roof right now. Consumer pricing went up more than the most in 13 years, kind of thing. And so it shows that our core inflation rate, meaning that if you took out gasoline and groceries, it's at 4.5%, which is the largest increase since 1991. Yes, I was alive in 91. But
you're probably partying then.
Yeah, kind of
Actually,
thing.
I met you then. Sorry.
Memory lane. That's great. All right. So understand that inflation is rearing its ugly head right now. The Biden administration, as well as the Fed policy, is that this is temporary and that prices will come down. I'm not quite as optimistic on that. I hope they do. I just don't know if they're really going to do that. On the good news, jobless claims also fell to a new pandemic low last week, kind of thing. More and more governors have stopped the enhanced benefits to try and encourage more and more people to go out and get some jobs, because we
were competing with federal government. I mean, there were people that were willing to sit and collect the unemployment and versus going out to work because they made more.
So let's talk about some of the real estate numbers, kind of thing. So overall home prices in June reached its highest number on record. So you can see where we were in 2019, 2020, and then where we are this year. And you can see that significantly home prices continue to inch up. That's highly due to supply versus demand. This is not just a bubble. Let's look at the rest of them, kind of thing. Overall, our home sales are down 1.2% from May to June. This is in volume. This is not dollar wise. This is in numbers of sales. Units sold, that kind of thing. So and this is largely fueled not by demand, but by supply. Like if we had more homes to sell, I promise you we'd be blowing those numbers out.
And I think partially because with new construction, they kind of halted their new construction just a little bit due to lumber price, because the builder was having a hard time getting estimate on some of the home and the actual cost. The
good news is lumber's down about 40% from the peak. So and we're looking at that really starting to come down too, kind of thing. Overall, seasonally adjusted homes for sale fell about 30%. And so this is our national active listings, homes for sale. And so you can again see in 2019 how many homes we had for sale, 2020, and now this year we're down to about 1.3 million total. So that's about 30% reduction in year over year, kind of thing. And that not good. Time on market came down to its shortest time on market ever.
14 days.
14 days. So if you are not at 14 days on your listing, what's that mean, man?
You're listed too high.
It's bottom line. It's price.
And our seller.
But we have hardwood floors. It's price. Yeah, but we just put a new roof on.
My neighbor just sold for this much. Well, your neighbor also have more stuff than you did with more square footage.
It's price.
Right.
So, we got to make sure that we're keeping our sellers in check too, because that's one of those things. Like if your house is on the market for more than 2 weeks, now people are like, well, what's wrong with it, kind of thing. And if it's just price, we have to be.
Well, you can always adjust the price.
So now at the same time, 56% of homes sold over list price. Well, this is not the number of homes that sold at list price. This is over list price. And that is the highest number ever on record, kind of thing. So there is still a lot of pressure pushing home prices up right now. At the same time, overall, what is our average sale to list price? Sale to list price ratio. So if you list for this price overall, what percentage? We're at 102%, which is
in the all-time high.
Yeah.
So we have never you know, in my history, I have not seen. I mean, you
Yeah.
go back really quick on the
Oh,
slide.
sorry.
So if you look at it, even 2013, from 2013 to this today, never have we, no, backwards, forward.
Forward. Sorry.
Yes.
There we go.
Never have we ever achieved 100% until 2021.
Right. And then we just keep going beyond it kind of thing.
Yes.
So we're at 102% of our sale to list price ratio. Now, home sale prices rose another 25% in June. That is the second highest growth on record kind of thing. Now, the month before was the largest growth before. And so, you know, we are still seeing so much pressure out there. So let's talk about the bad news. Here in the Atlanta market, our median sales price is $339,000. That's 4.3% month over month, and we are at 25.6% year over year. That is not sustainable. We know that's not sustainable.
And we're actually, as far as percentage wise, we're the highest.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just, I stopped at Atlanta kind of thing, on their kind of thing. But let's talk about the good news, because there is some good news on there. New listings for homes on sale we now have more new listings coming on the market than we had in 2019. That is a big win right there. And we're starting to see that on both the brokerage level as well as the activity level of things going on. You know, this time of year, things traditionally slow down. Don't think of last year, because last year was not a real year. It was just weird. It just stayed busy all the way through the fall. But we're looking at more normal historical trends kind of thing. And so right now, for the first time in like forever, we now have more new listings coming on the market than we had in 2019. That's a really big deal. That means that we got more sellers coming on the market and we've got less buyers engaged right now. And so we are starting to see, I'm not going to say it's softening on prices, because I don't see them going down.
No, the price is not softening, but the
intensity,
yes.
the you know, the 50, 75, 100 people at an open house, the 77 offers, the 10 blind offers over asking on cash before you even list, before we even they even see the property, that kind of stuff. That is not that's what's gonna ease up, because that kind of intensity is not going to be there. We're not going to see prices softening. But, you know, for our buyers, this is really good news, because we have so many people waiting for the market not to be bonkers kind of thing.
Right.
All right. Now, here, this is an interesting stat that we all already knew. But what I didn't know was how far back it went. This is our starter homes under 1,400 square foot. So how many starter homes did we have back in the 70s? Well, we had over 400,000. How many were being built? In the 80s, we had around $320,000. In the 90s, we had around 200,000. And then in the 2000s and the 2010s, starter home inventory is at its lowest ever. And part of it is has to do with how a lot of our counties and municipalities like to build. You know, no one wants a lower priced neighborhood in next to their neighborhood. So it's one of those things where,
well, and also the older homes, sometimes, not in all area, the older home become the starter home, because a new homes typically is a move up home.
But what we're talking about here specifically is new construction.
Correct.
And so what we're going to be seeing is, hopefully, is less restrictive rules. Like you know, like we're in Henry County right now, and so like here, it's hard to even be able to build a house under 2,000 square foot. Like most areas, you know, they have certain densities. They have a minimum square footages of what you need. And so getting back down to where you can build a house under 1,400 square foot is honestly, it's hard to find the land to build it on. And even then, it's harder to have the costs that make it cost effective. So right. We are going to be seeing more condos, more townhomes, those kind of projects going on.
Development.
Yeah, those kind of things. So expect to see a lot more of that. That's another thing we're seeing the Biden administration really pushing for, and it's something that our housing market needs. We're seeing that, you know, that the condo and townhome market is kind of like the starter homes for a lot of our millennials right now. And so, but that's largely because, you know, like back when we were, you know, buying our first house, it was a 1.5 kind of thing. You know, we bought that little 1,200 square foot ranch kind of thing. That's what that starter home is. But there's not many of those to be had. And so we're really hoping that we can start seeing a little bit more inventory out there. Some new information also came out about homes in car-dependent neighborhoods versus homes in transit areas. If you were in the car-dependent, so meaning that you were outside of mass transit, the property values rose at double, kind of thing. So with coronavirus, and this is not really a shock, we've been seeing kind of a migration from the cities into the burbs more. But I want you to think about what this really means, though. I mean, right now we're fighting a lot of pricing issues. We have a lot of clients that are looking for deals. Are you going to find the better deals in the suburbs right now and in the rural areas? Or are you going to find the better deals ITP, that kind of thing?
Inside the perimeter.
I'm sorry, inside the, everybody knows what ITP means.
Not really.
Right.
For us, those live in suburb area,
Okay.
they may not know.
Inside the perimeter. So be looking, if you look at transit areas, those we're seeing where there's less price competition on those right now. So, if you have clients that are willing to.
Also their taxes is really high when you're inside the urban area.
Yeah.
And plus,
But you're close to things too.
but if you look at DC used to offer a lot of entertainment and a lot of within walking distance. Since COVID, a lot of your entertainment, food, restaurant has been shutting down. So that's what made the value of land that much more desirable, because convenience and everything else. But when you have those entertainment and different other
But we don't have as
business
many issues
supported.
here,
No,
in
not here.
the Atlanta area.
No, but that's what makes those land at one point desirable. So when you shut those services down, it makes it less desirable.
So there's a new study came out and said, what are the 10 most used features in listings? So most of them are emphasizing the roominess of listings right now. So the number one is a garage, second's walk-in closets, full bath, open floor plans, hardwood floors, granite countertops, stainless steel appliances. You can also see the condo list on there. And so if you're looking to write your listing descriptions, these are the most popular ones to be including in there. But overall, emphasize roominess. I can't speak, but roominess. That's a really good thing. Also, a lot of times, one thing we get asked by a lot of our friends and consumers is, what colors is best to paint the outside of my house? Well, they've actually done some studies kind of thing. And the number one color to boost the exterior or to boost the price of a home is grayish, which is a gray beige is the number one color. So your top three colors that help
neutral colors.
They're all neutral. Exactly. So grayish kind of thing. And then we also have white
trims typically.
Well, but no, white homes now kind of thing. And then gray. So white, gray, and grayish are the three best return on investment paint colors to use on the exterior of your home. So my wife, she likes really bright cold colors. Those don't pay as well. Sorry. All right. So let me back up here. So I wanted to bring in, so we have Miss Miranda with us today. So let me try to do 12 things. Yes, I'm working on it. So so we're bringing in Miss Miranda Wood kind of thing. Miranda, are you there?
Yeah, it booted me out for a second, and then it.
There she is.
Look at her cute hat. She's ready for the summer.
You ready to roll kind of thing.
Yeah, I am. How are y'all doing today?
We're doing very, very good kind of thing.
Good. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm Miranda Wood with the Mold Man, and had some information to share with you guys. I've got a screen, a PowerPoint information for me. I don't know. Can I share my screen?
Maybe.
Nope.
Let's see.
Wait, you gotta stop sharing.
I think
she can. Okay.
We're working on it here. Oh, well,
You should be able to do it now.
Hold on. Let me I'll make you host. All right. So you should have the ability to do that now. So share with us, because we have some questions for you too. We like you and your husband a lot. We appreciate you. You guys are kind of like the mold specialist kind of thing. And,
yes, sir.
And a lot of our agents and a lot of our consumers don't know the difference between mold and mildew, do they?
No, and even with mold, there's lots of different types of mold, and there's lots of different aspects and things that could happen, and it's always safe to have us come take a look, even if it is mildew versus mold, because we always do free quotes. So if you're ever in doubt, you have us come take a look, because a lot of the consumers really don't know the difference between discoloration and mold and mildew, and even your inspectors, they may not even list mold on that home inspection. They'll let you know discoloration, or there might be mildew, or there might be fungus. And so there's lots of different words that are kind of used interchangeably, even though they're not meant to be used interchangeably, if that makes sense. So if you guys are ever in doubt at all, give us a call and we'll come out and take a look and make sure you and your clients are taken care of.
Now, I'm sure you guys, when you come out, you explain to them different type of modes and what it affects and what are some of the typical treatments and what has to be removed, and also what is biohazard, I'm sure, right?
Absolutely. So usually we do not tell them what type of mold, but we can tell them it is a mold, because there's over 100 or more different species of mold. So any mold needs to be removed. But yes, ma'am, when we come out, we will do a inspection. We have some really fancy tools that tell us if there's moisture in the walls, or if there's moisture that could cause mold issues. And when that moisture meter tells us a certain number, we know it's mold, right? Like if it says that there's 100% humidity in that wall, there's something going on with that wall. If it's something like 15%, okay, you're going to be on the safe side. There's, humidity in the air everywhere. But, if it's saying 100%,
especially in the South.
Absolutely. If it says 100%, hey, there's something going on here for sure. And so we'll go out and we'll do a visual inspection of the situation. And then we create a scope of work and a quote that lets what does it take to take care of this problem? What are we willing to do to take care of this problem? And then for your realtors, it also gives them a way to negotiate where those funds are going to come from. We have a program to take payment at closing, and needed to keep that deal together, and the seller's willing, if it doesn't have cash, it could be put on their ATAC that the seller will pay for our fees through the closing table process. So that comes out of their equity of their property instead of out of their pocket, which could make a big difference for your sellers and your buyers. And so that currently that fee is only a 3% upcharge from our normal fees. And so that makes it affordable for everybody to still get the help that they need to keep this deal together. Because, mold can affect your appraisal. It can also kill your deal. If you have a listing come up.
It's a real concern.
Yeah, mold is the four-letter word of real estate. Somebody sees mold pop up, it's just kind of like everyone runs for the hills, kind of screaming, clutching their children.
Absolutely. And I make jokes all the time that it was a four-letter word until the mold man came to town, and now it's just another word in the dictionary.
That's good.
Thank you. And so a lot of times mold is not covered by insurance. There are some times in which you can get mold covered by insurance, and that's if you had a fire and the mold's growing because the firemen used their hoses, or you have a leak, or, some act of God that happened that caused mold to grow in your home. I live in Noonan, and there's several houses here that got hit by the tornado that I am sure insurance covered some of those mold issues. However, most of the time, mold is not covered by insurance. And therefore, that's one of the reasons why our way of working with your ATACs and our agents by taking payment at closing is really helpful for you guys, because it's not like insurance is there paying for that most of the time. And once in a blue moon, you may have a rider or something of that sort that will help pay for that. And so one of the other things that we do, not only do we do mold remediation, but we also help with crawl spaces. So if you have like joists or subfloors that, come up in a home inspection, we can come take a look. And the big one that we do is encapsulation to that crawl space. So if you have a listing come up, open that crawl space door, and your first response is, I don't know about this, you can go ahead and have us come out and take a look, and we can let you know, so that before a buyer comes and sees it, that your clients are taken care of.
Sounds good.
Great. All right.
Do y'all have any other questions for me?
I think you've about covered it all. We sure appreciate you you coming out with us today and kind of talking about mold. I know for a lot of agents, it's not necessarily
A fun
a
topic.
fun thing to talk about. And honestly, what I see is that most of the time that there's a lot of misconceptions about mold, because not every mold is deadly black mold, and sometimes it is mildew. And getting that expert that can really help you, that's what we are. We just want to make sure that agents have the resources that they know. And you know, we love a lot our relationships with our home inspectors, but a lot of times our home inspectors are not mold specialists. And so sometimes they'll put the word mold on there when it really isn't. And sometimes they'll put different words and it doesn't stress the importance of it. And so I just, you know, we're really glad that you joined us today, because we wanted to be able to kind of share really, you know, what's a go-to resource. And so that's why we appreciate you coming out today. So thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
You did bring up one more point that I did want to share. Your home inspectors will do mold testing, but they do not do mold remediation. And so we work closely with those home inspectors because we won't do testing. We feel like it's a conflict of interest for us to test it. Hey, there's mold, and then let's, you know, take care of this issue. So if you do ever have an issue where you do need formal testing, your home inspection companies are going to be your friend. And then, but a lot of times it's that moisture meter and the tools that we use in that inspection process that we use, make it where you don't have to pay for that fee to get that formal testing. I just want to make sure that your agents were aware of that situation as well.
Great. All right,
Okay.
good to know. Well, thank you, Miss Miranda. We sure appreciate you.
Thank you. And I have a gift card to give away
Oh,
to
wow.
somebody. So I was thinking, if maybe we can come up with a question from the video that y'all did. Let's see. What about they email me or text me the average sales to list price ratio that you shared in your video. And then I'll
Okay.
use that to make a drawing. And Friday, I will announce who won the drawing. Does that work?
Sure.
That sounds great.
Sounds great. Thank
Awesome.
you.
So,
Well,
you know,
Go ahead.
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. And my email
well, you
and
know,
my
this
phone
video
number.
also goes out on our YouTube channel on realestatebackstory.com. So give them a couple of days, because a lot of people view it on there as well. So
Is it first come, first serve on the answers?
Well, I think I'm going to use the answers and then create a drawing from that. And then I'll wait
Gotcha.
till next Monday,
Okay.
and that will give your viewers a whole week to be able to send in their answers. And
Sounds
for that
great.
answer,
All right.
obviously, for them to win, I'm going to need their name, number, and email so that I can contact them if they're the one that won.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Miranda.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you all so much
We
for having
appreciate
me.
coming online.
Thank
all
you.
right, sounds great. Thank you so much.
Bye.
All right, folks. All right, we're going to wrap this up now. And if you need us, you can always catch us afterwards. We are, if you'll go to max1.rock/chat every week, we hang out for a little while. If anybody needs us, do anything like that, we are all about doing that kind of thing. So you can join us then. We hope that you guys have a very productive and useful week. And we love you. We appreciate you. If you need us, call, text, smoke signals, we answer it all. So have a great week.
Thank you. Have a great Monday. Take care.